3, 2, 1. Do we want to clap?
Two,
we don't have to
three.
sync.
I
1, 2, 3, bop.
All right.
A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. Yeah! I gotta get a countdown. Like I just peeked out the microphone just now, screaming into it. Hi, this is Lori.
This is Peter.
And this is Hamilton.
And we are back again with let me start my little doohickey there. We're back here with another movie review of kind of an interesting film that Hamilton picked out called Shadows. I got that.
I had seen this film years ago, and I think the first time I saw this film, I thought it was interesting, but it didn't really strike me that I would be returning to this film over and over for the next 15 years.
Wow.
But it's grown on me a lot over the years. I'm a fan of Cassavetes, John Cassavetes, and I never considered this to be one of his most significant films, but now I do think it has an important place in his overall filmography because it's his first film, and I can see how he was really trying to do something that hadn't been done before. And
interesting subject for your first movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he did it well. It wasn't like there's so many things he didn't do that I'm happy about. Like he didn't like the characters they come off as authentic. And this is a white filmmaker making a film about black characters. So we can get into it.
I'm just going to lay a little background on the film. Shadows. It's a 1958 film by director John Cassavetes. 58, 59. 58, 59. I saw 59, but 59.
Just to clarify, the history is they have two different versions, and the first one was 57, and then I think 58, and the next one was 59. So
it's kind of like that. And you said this film was lost, that they happened to find a print in an old theater somewhere.
This is the second version that he did, and it was left on a subway. Like the reel was left on a subway, and someone found it, and it ended up for a long time just sitting in some kind of storage place or something. I don't know, but it was lost, and then it was found, and then it was restored, and so what we see is the result of the second version of this film. So it's got a lot of history before that, but apparently John Cassavetes' wife, Jenna Rollins, she doesn't want people to see the first version.
Really?
I've read people's comments about it, but I think it's not important. I think this version is the one he probably would have wanted people to see.
So John Cassavetes is a well-known filmmaker. They all say he's an actor's filmmaker, and he was an actor as well.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of his films. He's very
he's credited with being a pioneer in independent film making.
I could see. Yeah. So, and this was an improvisational film. Like the acting, I guess, in the storyline are just based on how the actors. They might have had an outline of what to go, and it's all right, just.
I think when they say improvisational, they mean there wasn't a script, but there was a lot of retakes.
Okay.
And they did a lot of stuff over and over. So I don't know how improvisational it was, but it wasn't like they had a script that they were going off of. They developed the characters situationally around, they had spent so much time developing the characters that they could create situations.
So they can create situations out of just from their interactions.
Interesting.
And the actors knowing what those characters would do in situations. I think the movie, the story-wise, it's this is the late 50s. It's the beatnik era in New York. The young people at the time, kind of their social life. And you have the main characters are mixed race. And they're not mixed race. They're black. Because they're light-skinned blacks, basically.
Basically.
And they have a dark-skinned brother. And it's basically the main character is the female. I want to make the female and the light-skinned brother and the light-skinned sister, and kind of how they socialize as light-skinned black people, and kind of how they respond to the people, their own people, and how they respond to the white community, what they choose to reveal about themselves and not reveal about themselves in these interactions. And it's very interesting, like you said, to see this come from a white filmmaker and from that time period, to see a movie about this. So
Well, now I wasn't born until 1957.
okay.
And this movie being made in 58 or 59, of course, I was still a youngster.
And you weren't watching Cassavetes' film, I
No, I sure wasn't. I was looking at the nipple of a bottle.
I thought that was going to be something else for a second.
No, that's later. That's after my teenage years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But and I mean, I was still
scoot in a little bit.
Yeah, I was still crapping my pants. So. Well, anyway, the look of the movie reminded me of Little Shop of Horrors.
Okay.
It had that same kind of gritty, just kind of loose look to it.
The original Little Shop, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to say, at first when I was watching it, I didn't like it. Mm-hmm. But as it moved forward, the characters became more interesting to me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then so did the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I started putting more things together with it.
Right.
And now, to me, it was how the outside world, or when I say the outside world, outside of that family, how the world reacted to them based on their looks. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you had one brother who was dark, and he was more or less said, okay, so you are a singer because you are black. Mm-hmm. So that we
also
see
obviously
you are an entertainer because that's what you guys do,
and you can't play ball.
Yeah, and you can't play ball.
Implied.
The younger brother had more, I guess, an olive skin. Mm-hmm. So he was thought to be, by other people, he was thought to be Italian.
Right.
Yeah.
And they brought him along wherever they went.
Yeah.
Which means, and for their age, they were frolicking out with different women. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then you had the sister, who was to me, she was the focal point.
Yeah.
Or
she was a lot of the story
character.
was based upon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she was incredibly light skinned, and she could go and do and be anything.
Right.
And that film followed that, and things that happened with her, and then. When people started to find out, because now they're seeing the brothers and everything, they're going, well, wait a minute, and and the brother was, he was like, I wonder if there was struggles within him because of his brother and sister being able to
kind of do things that he wasn't able to.
Well,
and
they didn't really show it, but
no,
just to clarify,
but
I think
his attitude.
I think what we're talking about is the phenomenon of passing complexion.
Yeah,
like these characters
passing for white.
You can't tell if they're white or black. Yeah, and that's one of the things I think is interesting about this film is because we talked about the race movies in Hollywood in the 50s, and those movies are always about someone trying to pass for white and and trying to not to get caught passing for white. But this movie, although it's about passing complexion, it's not about people trying to pass.
They're not trying to.
Right.
Than what they are. Yeah, but
it's just how the outer world is reacting to what they see.
Which is interesting. And then it's the whole thing of it's a black and white film. And some of the characters you can't tell if they're black or white, but they're black. Yeah, so he's really he's really looking at like the whole race issue in a way that's I've never seen it, analyzed in a film before. And yet it's still, like you said at the beginning, it just kind of starts off and it's just like a slice of life.
Yeah, you're kind of like, okay, this is young New Yorkers, beatnik era.
Yeah.
What is this
You don't really know
what is
what
this
it's
supposed to be
about at
about?
first.
You're just
Right.
kind of going through, following them along with what their life at that time period.
Right.
Being young and lovely and
And one of the,
and
go ahead.
hip.
But the one thing that I also took from it is when you're looking at it, the brother who was the entertainer, who was the darker of the skin, not just from his point of view and of his brothers and sisters, he seemed to be the most educated person of everyone
Like
that
maybe
they
the
showed
most
in
street
the film.
smart or
No, not
Okay.
street smart.
Okay.
I'm talking about
No, he wasn't
education.
divided. No, you're
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
very
Benny was just-
educated, and
Benny was the jazz musician, and
yeah. So,
I've been around enough musicians to know. I'm just kidding.
So even though everyone else was, they had the level of education that they needed to do what they were doing. Yeah, he was probably, for what he was doing, he was overeducated, and I think that's one of the things that the film and
Like-
the filmmaker was trying to show. Is
Even
that-
his like manager was like really,
Right.
what you would, qualify as the articulate, black man,
Right,
kind
right.
of very nerdy and articulate black man, which
right.
was cracking me up because I know somebody like him.
I thought
I
it
knew
was
someone like-
interesting, you guys, because like I told you, I thought they could have just presented the film the way we've discussed it so far, and it would have been
Yeah.
interesting. But they showed that these characters were complex. They had even the fairer, lighter characters. They had issues within themselves about their identity.
Right.
And how they wanted
And-
to be seen.
And what you saw that
perceived.
too was through their interactions with people. It wasn't like
Yeah.
over the top. You got issues with your identity. No, I don't.
Right.
Whatever, which would have been acted out. And like you say in the race movies of that time would have been like more, This was a lot more nuanced and
I think what makes this most interesting for me is that I think Cassavetes wasn't even really trying to necessarily make a race movie. I think he was trying, like he said himself, he was trying to make movies that really brought a sense of like realness about relationships and about, especially like a lot of his films are about people in love and the complicated aspects of their relationship. But this was definitely a movie about relationships, and at the same time, he brought something very real and relatable because as Black people, we could watch this movie and identify with certain aspects of it.
It's like I have to think about how I respond to different situations. It's like, am I being true to my race? Am I being
Right.
Am I forgetting certain things? Am I like taking advantage of stuff? Or
I mean,
it's kind of like and
Laurie,
not realizing it. Am I struggling with that kind of thing? Yeah.
Right. I mean, like I wouldn't expect like a white filmmaker to be able to even be able to articulate what it is to be black, and then to be black and to be able to pass for white. But he didn't make a lot of the mistakes other filmmakers might have made by trying to over-explain the characters.
Right.
Like the characters were well developed enough that it was believable to watch the situations play out on film.
And they just happened. Just like in a lot of ways, when it was found out by the boyfriend that the sister
Was black.
or could be black, but he was still even confused because he could see her and her look, how she spoke and interacted with him. And then here's this guy, she goes, and this is my brother. And he's kind of like, I don't know what that means.
Right.
And then, he kind of looks at her like, oh, but wait a minute.
Right. He realizes she
and
must
then
be black.
the brother is kind of like, what do you want to do?
Well,
what you doing?
That's what I love about this film in particular is that the situations are interesting to watch unfold, but it's not preachy. There's no good guys or bad guys in this movie. Mm-hmm. Even when the white character reacts in a way that's negative, it's not necessarily because he's a bad person. It's because the situation is too much. He's never been in a situation like that before, and it's interesting to watch that realness unfold on film. Mm-hmm. And I realize in particular that's what I love about Cassavetes movies in general. But I think this film really, like, for anyone, I think this is a good introduction for anyone who's interested in these films, who's never seen a Cassavetes movie.
It really is. Like I said, it's just interesting to watch these characters go through their struggles and identify with them as like really real, authentic kind of struggles. That,
Right.
Yeah, because it tells you without kicking you that what you see with your eyes, if you fall in love with someone, you fell in love with someone. Mm-hmm. You fell in love with their look, their personality, their whatever. So if they are Italian, Hispanic, black, white, Asian, whoever, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But they also show, and you can see within them, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But then it matters to the people who might be around you or other people. It might matter. It doesn't matter to you, but it'll matter to your friend. Mm-hmm. And then, so what lengths are you prepared to go through? Right. Are you prepared to say, oh no, this, or what you see is what he is or what she is, and then you're kind of even wondering, but are they going to go along with it? Mm-hmm. Because they can't be this around my friends because my friends don't like this.
Right.
So I think without doing it a lot, because the film just was not written that way. Mm-hmm. But you do see the little nuances here and there. Mm-hmm. Whereas, I'm okay with it, but that person can be okay with it too, but they have to be okay with being deceitful over here, so that we can be who we want to be, and not be deceitful to each other. So it's one thing I have to put it like this, because it wasn't written, but it was kind of more or less, I think, outlined.
Fleshed out.
I think it was it wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't a great movie, a really good movie.
Well,
but the subject matter and the way it was put together, the way that was put together,
right?
That I think that was something that people should see it.
I was gonna say, if it was too abstract, I wouldn't have really liked it, because I don't like when people try to be artsy and abstract.
Yeah.
I want there to be some concrete story or something for me to. Exactly. And what I find incredible about this film is he literally made this film with like $40,000 that he got off of credit cards or whatever. Yeah. And it just says that anyone can make a movie. Can make a film like this. Can you make a film like this? Yeah, can you make a film like this? I don't know. But
I mean, we're going with his first film. He's scraping together whatever he can. Mm-hmm. He's doing something experimental in a way that, he's getting all his actor friends and stuff like that and working these things out and keep filming over the course of years to put this thing together, and probably taking it and doesn't Wong Kar-wai does this too kind of process, I think.
I don't know.
Actually, I'm reading about him. He does he kind of like doesn't really have a script made out, but like film has concepts and ideas.
That actually makes
has
sense.
the actors go through scenes,
Right.
and then like the movie kind of gets fleshed out that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I didn't think of, but anyway, yeah. So you can see it's not going to be, it's not a big budget. It's not pre-planned. It's not all of those things that you. So there's a little,
It's kind of Dolomite-ish.
yeah, you can tell the budget wasn't there, the equipment
original
wasn't there.
Dolomite
I think I mentioned there's a lot of ADR, a lot of like recorded dialogue.
Right. Yeah.
In the beginning of the film, and then I can hear when it clicks in, and that's the actual like audio recording where they were shooting and stuff like that, and it's back to the ADR and they didn't have the budget or the technology to kind of match it. Yeah,
right.
So there's a lot of little things like that. I
don't think this film was necessarily successful in any real financially when it came out, but I don't even think he was trying to.
That wasn't the point.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to make a movie where he was going to make his money back. He had something to say. He was trying to express something.
Yeah,
and you could tell it was something that he had to get out.
It's kind of like
you could tell that the movie is from the heart.
Yeah, I mean that's what I would say. I realize it's not like a Hollywood film production, but that's kind of what I like about it too.
Yeah. That it could like achieve what it does.
Yeah,
and expressing like the point of view. I don't know.
I mean that whole lovemaking scene for me is like pretty deep because what she says is kind of universal. It's like her expectations of what it was going to be like to make love for the first time, and then what it really was. I've never seen that in a film. You know what I'm saying? It was like that's deep considering that was in like '59 or whatever, and I'm pretty sure like
to even have a lovemaking scene.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure for the audiences for that time that was pretty profound.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't even think about that because you couldn't tell if their feet were on the floor because I think you had to have one foot on the floor back then.
There was a lot of intimacy.
If you were in bed,
there was a lot of like there was a certain level of intimacy, not just in that scene, but like. You can see how he shot it with the people were like very close together. Their faces were in each other's faces and stuff like that.
It really looked like they were in bed together, like they had just finished.
Yeah. Even their conversation was pretty interesting. And then when you find out other things later, you're going, wait, well, I mean.
Well, I just got mad at her for like dissing that brother who was trying to date her. Well, but that was kind of an interesting concept though, because you're just like, but some brothers just don't know when to stop.
But I thought that was interesting too because it showed a whole other aspect to these characters. It was like she wanted to be with the Tony character. But then he rejected her, and then she ended up going out with this black guy who really liked her.
She made him jump
oh my
hoops,
gosh.
boy.
But that's
I was
a real
like, damn,
thing.
dude, just leave.
She
ain't worth it.
That's a real aspect.
And he wouldn't.
Right. That's a real aspect of blackness that I wouldn't expect them to even be able to understand or comprehend in a film like this.
Right.
So
let's wrap this up. Shadows, very interesting classic film. Like I said, a hallmark of independent filmmaking. Check it out. It's on YouTube. The whole movie, you can watch it on YouTube right now. So grab it and let us know what you think in the comments. So.
Yes, definitely. Let us know.
This hand. I don't know. We out.
Alrighty.
Okay, we out.
We still can't get it. 3, 2,
I need
1.
like a bouncing ball across the screen. Like, okay.
Well, you just need to count in. You need to. I mean, musicians we count each other off. 1, 2.
I got more rhythm than it appears. Everyone, I'm not this.
Good night. We out.